For this episode, we will be talking to a good friend of mine, Pray Nadal, who I've had the pleasure of working with for the past 3, almost 4 years, who currently runs HireOtter, an exceptional community where developers and startups can match, build, and find the right teams. Pray has such extensive experience, not only on the recruiting side, but building client relationships. He's got a pretty unorthodox approach, which is always exciting to have people talk about that on the show. And what that means is hyper-personalization, using your voice, using your brand, and really being bold about it. Everybody talks about it, but Pray is really someone that embodies it, and he gives us some tips on how to do it, as well as tips for people looking for positions and jobs. He's been a connector, and he has such great insights onto what is important to review in a background if you're a client, what's important to showcase if you're a developer. We'll have a really fun conversation, as well as talking some traveling that he does, and also some things he's learned in his career as a right-hand person to a really successful entrepreneur. How you doing, man? How's life?
Good, good. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
I'm doing well.
Good, man. Where were you just visiting? I know you were just traveling somewhere.
Yeah, I just visited United States and I went to Doha for a layover, and then I'm here now in the Philippines.
I know. I'm always jealous of how much you travel and how many friends you have in other places. But when you were in New York, where did you go
I
before
went
that?
to
You were
a
in
lot. I went to a lot of states actually. So I landed first in San Francisco and I flew over Portland, and after that I went to New Jersey and then go to New York and then North Carolina
yeah.
and back again to New York and New Jersey because that is where my most of my aunties are living.
Well, that's not your first time in the U.S., is it?
It was my first time. It was like a 1 year dream for me because it was Mike's promise to me in the past that he wanna see me in person. So it was the first time seeing all together in Portland. So it was a very wonderful experience.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I know, obviously, you've known Mike for so many years, and it's an interesting story because it was an interesting time in your life when you two met, and remind me of what that was. You just left the position, right, and went back
Mhm.
full time freelancing, right?
That is correct. Actually, when I first met Mike, I was an international project manager in Japan. And I went
Yeah,
home because I realized that living in Japan and working there was not my dream. It was my
yeah,
mom's dream. And it was an action for me to realize that I should live my life and I should be doing what I love. And I started to go back to what I was introduced in the past, which is freelancing. And I'm just
yeah,
applying randomly in Upwork, and I found Mike. And it was like an ad hoc task posted there, and I applied, and he just messaged me right away, and then we clicked. So we
yeah,
had a conversation, and it kept going. And then our relationship, like, well, it did not went south, but our contract ended because I have found another opportunity. Because as a freelancer
yeah,
working remotely, you always want to increase your salary, gain skills, go from one another, go to this company, gain specific skills, and then earn or ask for another higher salary. That's what we do as a freelancer in the past. So, and then
yeah,
I had found a new company, and then it was so stressful when pandemic came because all the companies are going down, or we're losing the clients and all. So I was like, the company that was Mike established in the past was still there. So I
yeah,
touched base with him and just to say hi, and then he
yeah.
responded back to me in Telegram. So I messaged them on the support chat, like I don't know what it, I think it was Intercom. That was the name of the chat support. We're now using Chris on the company I'm working on. We're using Intercom in the past. So I messaged them like, "Hi, I'm Prey. I miss you guys. I've been working with you because I'm checking on them because it was pandemic time."
Right.
And he
Yeah.
responded. He responded back to me in Telegram with the screenshot of my message in the intercom, and he was like, "Hey, Prey, was this you? I was you're being on my mind for this past few days, and I want to really message you so bad. And I had this opportunity to do not just as a freelancer. I want you to be a business partner." And that was when HireOtter started. I started to enter
Yeah.
HireOtter and then evolve into this wonderful thing right now.
It's incredible. Mike Townsend is our amazing business partner who we've had such a pleasure of working with for so long, and you and I have worked together for so long as well. And it's always fascinating to me about your ability to you got good timing, and it's consistency and persistence. And I think a lot of people don't realize, regardless of where you are,
Mhm.
that can really benefit you in so many different ways, whether it's meeting for a job opportunity or friend or whatever. When did you build those skills as a freelancer? Obviously, there's a lot of anxiety because everything's inconsistent. Was it like something in you that continues to keep you energetic or motivated, or what is it in particular? When do you start building those skills to really be consistent and being bold on reaching out and finding that path?
Well, that's a good question. When I was starting as a freelancer or working remotely here in the Philippines, it was not a an easy path. Like we get clients right away. It's not just like that. It was like there's a lot of rejection to all the proposal that I sent. So there was a series of wrong proposal that I'm sending that it's a wrong template. This is not the right thing. And then when I realized that I needed to be more personal on the things that I'm sending the client I want to work with, that was when the time a lot of clients just really just falls in my desk and work is
Yeah.
like I cannot even imagine how
Yeah.
how hard I was working back then when all of these clients
Yeah.
responded to me with using the template of a personalized cover letter on the things that I will impact their company. Because I was just using a template before that was just so boring and
Yeah.
very traditional. So there was a lot of rejection, and those rejection were the redirection for me to learning new skills to become more personal on my branding as a worker, as a freelancer. And then
Yeah.
happily and good enough, Mike had found me and he treasured the skills that I had while we're
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously I want to ask you some questions just about freelancing and advancement, because I've seen you personally advance in your career and take on so much
Mhm.
responsibility. But before we talk about that, describe some of the kind of stereotypes that maybe are out there for people working in different countries. I remember even just my first experience working with people, even the team and yourself. I hadn't worked with anyone from the Philippines, for instance. I've worked with other people in other parts of the country, but I had no knowledge. And there are positive stereotypes, there's negative stereotypes. Did you feel that? And if you did that affect kind of you consistently or trying to kind of stay motivated?
Well, luckily enough, here in the Philippines, when I was starting freelancing, I can consider that I was one of the pioneer freelancers here in the Philippines because back then it was not yet Upwork, it was Odesk. So we were starting before Upwork now. So we
Yeah.
were like really getting the clients and then as along the way there are a lot of freelancers came in and then and we needed to regain or rebrand our brand. So the only thing that I think that was my strength back then was really I was a go getter until I'm a go getter until now, and I
Yeah.
know when the opportunity is mine. So I really get it. So for example, I had this one client in work. There was a job posting for senior development manager for Smiling House. It was a an Airbnb company that has like a connection in Guesty, HVMI, hotel and villas for Marriott International. So you were out, the post was really connected to being a coordinator and be partner of this specific company. So the client was non-technical. So they don't know
Yeah.
on how to respond to me directly in a work. And
Sure.
there are few technical issues. And since then, I was very techy. I know how to play with all of the tools
Sure.
that I have in the PC. So what I did is that I searched the name of the client in Facebook and I called them in Facebook and Messenger. And then that was when they were so impressed, like, hey, what are you doing? You were calling me.
Yeah.
So I was trying to make a way because we cannot connect and this is the perfect time for us to connect, talk about the job opportunity. And
Yeah.
it was really an eye-opener for me that you really have to be someone who owns the job when you want it.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
I
It's
did.
consistency. Yeah, it's consistency. It sounds like obviously putting yourself out there
Mhm.
and you really being personal. When you think about advancement, because you don't hear a lot of stories about people who go through the Upwork kind of process to get positions, really getting anything more than that, or you don't really hear much more. And describe kind of your journey going from doing a specific task to then managing teams to then now obviously you're running the HireOtter and kind of owning all processes there. What is the
Mhm.
Yeah, describe just like that evolution, and were you kind of considering like, oh, I'm always gonna be asking to do more and want more, or was it just falling on your plate?
Well, I think it started for me when I was young, when I have this attitude that I really always wanted to lead. Way back in high school and in college, I was like always chosen to be president of some club or be a representative of this specific organization. So way back then,
Yeah.
I know that I'm gonna be a leader when I finish college or when I start to work. And then I try to embody what this particular scenarios that happen in my life, and I try to embody that when I'm on the track when I'm about to do my journey. And I think one of the things that really empowered me a lot is those opportunity that rejected me in the past, and that's made me who I am today.
In terms of just like tenacity, obviously that's something
Mhm.
that I think you have in particular that's very unique and special. I guess more so, I'm curious in terms of like taking on more responsibilities, working with remote teams. What is that process like from your standpoint, your perspective? Obviously, we hear those stories in the US all the time, but being someone who's in the freelancing culture, remote, working for US companies, there's a certain
Mhm.
kind of lifestyle you have to live in the
Mhm.
Philippines that's very different from other positions or what people are used to.
Mhm.
Describe not only the lifestyle, but the transition into owning more relationships globally and how
Mhm.
that comfortability was describe the discomfort and also how you were able to get comfortable with that.
Well, I think the discomfort, I think all of Filipinos can relate to me because, or all of the people who got clients abroad or in the other side of the world, is that we have all to work in night shift because we have to sacrifice our days to at
Right.
night because we have to be aligned on what the US working hours is. So those are just really one of the first challenges I had. And good thing I had an experience with a call center in the Philippines, which my
Mhm.
shift is also graveyard. So really, when I started working in corporate during college, I was a working student back then. I was really exposed into the environment where people works in graveyard shift. Even my cousin, my sister, we all work at night because we know the money is in the US. So all of our clients, all of our works is related to somehow US or Western companies. So we trying to adjust onto that. And then, yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge. And managing people, when it comes to managing people or having my career as a freelancer and now having a full-time job, it was quite overwhelming because managing teams or growing a company is not easy, but it's
Yeah.
surprisingly challenging and fun as well. And it's
Yeah.
also one of the factors that makes it more fun is your coworkers like you, Mike, Julian, we're all collaborative all together and we do have the stand up, we do games, we do try to make it more personal as we go along the way. And I like that. I like
Yeah.
that bond. And it makes the job more easier to contain. And yeah, and also with the lifestyle, I think I've been living a life of a digital nomad. That's what I want to call myself because I have the ability to work remotely. If there's an internet connection or a good spot where I can sit and turn on my camera and do my stuff, that's the perfect place for me to work. And I'm thankful with the remote work because I get to do my career or I think I get to live my prime years in my career and I get to live my gym life, which is traveling. So
Yeah.
I do it all together. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, it's incredible to see your not only tenacity, but how that doesn't waver as you move from place to place. And it's awesome. And one thing I always kind of think about and reflect on is how big the Higher Otter community is. I mean, it
Mhm.
must be up to like 6,000 people in South America of all different parts. What was the process of building such a tight-knit community? And there's a lot of people don't know that individuals get rejected from the community because
Mhm.
of just a certain standard we need to hold and embody. What was the process like building that community? Where did you start? Where did you start really picking up traction? And what were
Mhm.
the maybe even technical pieces that really scaled the volume of it?
Mhm. Well, that's a good question. The first thing I think we needed to identify in the past with Mike was where do we store all this data? Because we're about to take on, or this is a rocket ship that is going to somewhere. So
Yeah.
we need to at least store the data. I remember before we're still using Trello. Now we're using Kanban and Airtable, and we're also using documents as a PDF as we send the clients the profiles of our candidates. And we are very open into vast websites like LinkedIn, professional platforms. We always try to infiltrate those platforms to be able to see or look for developers or engineers who can partner with us. And as we grow, I'm very thankful that the company that I'm managing right now, HireOtter, is usually connected in LinkedIn, because that is where we get the leads, we get all the people we trying to work with, and same thing with the client acquisition. It's really a helpful and powerful tool that making an impact to our company.
Yeah. And it's crazy to see just how many automations. How do you balance out the automation process in terms of keeping
Mhm,
people smoothly through the funnel with little friction, but also keeping personal? Is it the
mhm,
messaging? Is it the extra messages that you send in different
mhm.
platforms? How do you keep the personal service there while having all these automations in the back end?
Well, first thing, when you come up with doing automation, or specifically in what we do at HireOtter, we do mainly messages in automation via email. And we try to make sure that the email that we use, or the structure of it, is not robotic. It's maybe, we try to make it more personal, and it is as if it was sent by a human. So we try to do that, and we also try to connect. And sometimes what I do is I personally follow up with the clients, or I personally follow up with the client candidate. I personally follow up with the candidates that is connected with us, that has remaining tasks or quizzes or missing data for their application. I personally do reach out to them, and we do have a lot of external recruiting partners who also do the same thing, who does contact
Yeah.
them and touch base with them personally, not just through the automation that we're doing. We treat
Yeah.
the automation as if it is just a reminder, not really the
Sure.
machinery that works for us. It's
Yeah.
just really a reminder mechanism for the company to work, or for the process to be in tune.
Yeah. Describe this
Mhm,
partnership model. Obviously, I think one thing that's been amazing to see is how many people in South America who are also
mhm,
connected to amazing talent, developers,
mhm,
are so willing and willing to work with the team. You describe
mhm,
when that idea kind of came about and what's been interesting connecting with these
mhm.
professionals who are working in South America.
Well, yeah, you will be surprised by the number of external recruiting partners who really want to partner up and hungry for the work they want to contribute for a recruiting
Yeah.
company or IT staff augmentation like ours here at HireOtter. So we're currently having 94 plus, or 94 plus. Yeah, that's correct. That's the correct number that we have as of the moment on our data. And they are actively engaging with us whenever we have new jobs. And these are the recruiter who also work with some company. Some of them does have a team that they manage, and some of them are independent. And it's also a good thing that we help this kind of people in Latam who are independently working as a recruiter, and we bring them the opportunity to have at least passive income while doing other stuffs in their life.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just like to highlight that, because that is one of the impact that I think Higher Otter is good at. It's making really it's really giving opportunity to a lot of people, not just software developers, not just engineers or QAs. It's also for the recruiter that we partner here in the company.
When you kind of transition taking on client relationships, obviously you've grown the outer community to 5,000
Mhm,
plus. You've grown the external partners now to probably almost 100 people, if not more. When you transition into being more client focused and taking on that, what was something that was surprising or interesting or exciting? What
mhm.
was your motivation to get into that? And did you kind of see yourself doing this whole management process, or was this something that just fell in your lap?
Well, it was really a personal decision that I took from and told Mike, and that's why I want to manage the HireOtter solely. So it was overwhelming at first, but as I go along the way, I try to be optimistic. And what I discovered is that there are two major things that I'm trying to answer myself. It's that why are these clients not replying, even though I sent them a message that I'm offering the service as free? Why are you not responding on that? So
Yeah.
I really want to know. So that's the first
Sure.
question. And second is why this companies or starting companies will hire Otter as their partner to help them with their recruiting or help them hire ITs when they can do it by their own in LinkedIn or hire somebody, pay less and do it for them. So that
Mm.
those two questions stuck in my mind. And what my realization was, what I needed to do was to believe in my brand. And what is my brand? Hire Otter is personal. Personal as if you are not talking to anyone, but directly to the one who manage it, and that's me. So that is the number one brand that is that number one branding that I think I'm very proud of, because at Hire Otter, you can directly talk to me, negotiate to me, flexible. I'll be flexible in payments, flexible on the
Yeah.
way how you hire. I'll be opening up your calendar. I'll be opening up my own calendar for you for us to have a talk. You can chat to me anytime in Telegram and LinkedIn and
Yeah.
email, whatever platform you want to, I'll be there. And I think that is the biggest strength that other company is not having, because due to bureaucracy, you needed to contact somebody else to reach the person you wanted to reach. But at Hire Otter, even if you just email our contact at Hire Otter, client at Hire Otter, even just a generic email that we post, I will reply to you directly. So that is, I think,
Yeah.
the main strength of Hire Otter company.
Yeah. It's also it's funny to think about some of the interactions that come about in this relationship because,
Um,
it seems like from a recruiting standpoint, I'm curious to hear your perspective when it seemingly, and maybe a lot of other recruiting agencies can think about this, but or can relate to this. What are some of those conversations like? Why are people being delayed in terms of being hired or being rejected? What are some of these kind of common reasons or conversations you have when things don't go well versus when things do well? What's the difference in those experiences, or is it just kind of random?
Well, there's a lot of factors that come into play when you talk about it. So sometimes there are few jobs. Like for example, we open one job and then immediately was closed after 2 weeks, and then we decline candidates. It's also heartbreaking for me to do, because but the candidate and
Sure.
the recruiter as well needs to understand that these clients of ours are building their funding. They also have
Right.
sometimes recruiting team on their end that they're currently working in and have pipeline that they're working on. And whenever that pipeline is completed or they hire from that pipeline, we really need to close the job because the job search has ended. So there are a few factors that come into play: the funding, the current operational adjustments that they do in their company. Sometimes it doesn't align with the current need. So I need to at least communicate that to the recruiter who applied for the job, who submits candidates to us, and to the candidate who's being applied or submitted to the specific role.
Shifting gears here, you talk a lot about personal brand and
Mhm.
building that. Obviously, you've done so a lot more recently. Describe some of the more recent non-traditional kind of strategies you deployed and why you started to do that rather than going the traditional route and trying to scale out. You took a different approach and you got really personal and connected. What's been the transition like, and why did you do it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's identify traditional first. For me, traditional is having a email of this founders that you want to contact, and then sending them an email blast. That is traditional way for me. And personalized, when I try to own the job, what will I do here? It's not really about how many are you contacting. It's about the quality of the people you're contacting. For example, out of this traditional client leads that you have, let's say for example you have 100, I will only pick 10, and then I'll identify their LinkedIn, their Twitter, maybe their personal email, and I'll attack it from there. So it's more personal and it's more engaging. I Instead of just reading an email. And also I have found out that a referral would be really one good source of gaining clients. Like for example, if you have or if you, Julian, is connected to a specific client and you have a good experience with us, we try to connect you or let inform you to intro us to this specific client. And that's what we do. And the trust that you have for the person that who referred you to someone is higher than someone from a random email that you just received, right?
Yeah.
And when you talk about branding and being personal, currently here at HireOtter, we have this. I have this program that I call the HireOtter Prime, and these are the clients that we are working with, like for the past few years. That's why we are successful, and until now, they are partnered with us. They're getting developers. So what I did is that I sent them personalized gifts. So I crafted a form that I sent them and then identify what they like, interest, their birthday, their funding date, everything that I can use, that I can use for us to be able to send them a personalized gift.
Yeah.
And I think that will create an impact solely because me as a managing director, I just don't value you because you're giving us job. I value you because you've helped us once, and I want to continue that long lasting
Mm.
relationship.
Yeah. What are some of those gifts? Share that with the audience. That they're pretty funny. They're pretty fun.
Well, I'm sure there was one client who is a girl dad and really loves gym and sporty
Yeah.
guy. What I did is I sent him a socks that I ordered at Etsy, and the socks is customizable. You can put the picture of his baby, his wife, himself. So that's what I did. I edited it. I posted two videos. I posted two pictures and then sent it to the seller. And then voila, I don't know, it was sent to him already. So I'm still checking. I'm still checking with the client if they have received it. There's also one recruiter who is connected with us for a long time. It's from Tortic, I think. And she is a pet lover. So I found a picture of her pet in Insta or Facebook, I think, because I searched. That's what you do as a recruiter. You search, you know how to stalk. So I have found a picture of her pet, and there is a customizable framing that you can put the painting of that specific animal. And then that's what I did. I'll be sending that to her.
It's incredible to see just the creativity coming from that. And what's obviously you've had some conversations and feedback from clients. What's been the
Mhm.
response, and what's something that was surprising to you on the interaction or the feedback that you were getting?
Well, first of all, they're very happy because I think there are only few companies is doing like gift things. Like it's what I'm doing as a managing director at HireOtter is the unconventional of having a long-term relationship in a startup company or a company like ours because you cannot just send gifts or ask, hey, what do you want, I'll buy this for you. So I think that is what I'm doing, and it's out of the professional world, I think, and that is what making more it look like as a more personal relationship that I'm after too. And a few response that I get was, of course, they're very happy. And one of them, I mean, a few of them already responded in our chat pilot that they really had a good relationship with us even before receiving the gift. So how much more when they receive the gift? So I just that's what I want to boost the relationship I have for them and strengthen it along the way because we'll never know. This founder of this company might be a founder of another company or he might
Yeah.
build another thing. And we want to be behind those success together with these companies.
Yeah. And it's awesome because it also, one thing I've seen is it changes up the day-to-day workflow. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fun surprise to have somebody reach out unconventionally and even just
Mm-hmm.
engage in a more personal way. And what's been a form of support that you've received, because it's hard to kind of put yourself out there in the way you did and communicate and be very, I don't, be yourself, and rather than have certain masks that you're using, really take that ownership. What have been some pieces of support that have helped you kind of encourage and actually follow through on this approach?
Personally, I am a jolly person, so it comes within me. And I'm also an earth sign as a Gemini. So I'm really good in sometimes communicating with other people. So I'm trying to use that as a strength and combine it with the connection that the CEO of this company has, Mike Townsend, because he is a serial entrepreneur for the last 11, 12 years, is really connected with a lot of company, sold 3 companies in the past, and still connected to a lot of entrepreneurs as of the moment. He's also an angel investor. So when I combine it with the connection and with the attitude that I have, it's really a win-win situation where we can flourish or partner strongly with the tie with the clients that he knows or the connection that he's connected to in the past. So I'm just trying to work on it as if I'm treating it as my baby as of the moment. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. Describe that relationship and coming up underneath a mentor and what you get from that experience and what you feel has really kind of set yourself up for success for the next chapter in this kind of higher order. I don't want to say it's a rebranding, but I think it's really
Mhm,
highlighting its purpose. It's what makes it different. It's that personability, knowing
mhm.
what the founder experience is, knowing what people are going through, and being a true partner to them. What has that mentorship relationship been with Mike that has helped you kind of grow? What are some things you've learned, and where does it go from here?
Well, good thing about Mike is that he wants me to be myself while working, and he doesn't want me to be anyone else. And that's what I love
Yeah.
about him because he wants me to be myself and where I'm comfortable, where I want to work, what kind of work I want. I really have an option in that specific scope, and Mike let me choose what I will do. And he's very supportive when it comes to giving advice. And we also have like a meeting bi-weekly as one-on-one where we talk about things, where we talk about not just work, but we also talk about life in general. And also
Yeah.
with my finances, how I'm doing, and where are my next travels, and it's really sometimes out of work, and that's what makes me more comfortable to share and be
Yeah.
more creative with Mike because we are on not on the level of being not just a mentor and mentee, but as a friend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have that bond. I think is good to have for you to be able to execute whatever is in your mind or be more creative on the things that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Thinking about Otter and where you're taking kind of it in the direction, what are some pieces that are exciting to you, some initiatives that you're pushing? Where do you see the company growing and kind of establishing itself in the next year?
Well, I'm leaning towards HireOtter being fully connected to the stealth company you're currently building, Grupo, because that
Yeah.
is the community network that is behind HireOtter. So the community that we are building, we're trying to expose all of the candidates on this particular company called Grupo, and I think that is where the company HireOtter will interject its purpose on this large group of network that you are currently building in mind, and together with other teams
Sure.
as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd love to dive into some interesting topics in terms of kind of like the reality of the recruiting process, the interview process, engaging with clients and things like that. What are some of the hard parts about the relationship with the candidate and sharing bad news and things along that nature that we don't really see or don't really talk about
Mhm,
often, but obviously, you and I have had to experience it so often and you
mhm.
currently. What are some of those conversations like, and how do you really kind of help resolve it to maintain a positive relationship with people?
Yeah. Well, incorporating the brand that I'm trying to follow at Harry Otter is that we try to communicate it well with the candidates who are being declined, for example. So previously, we only have statuses. Like, for example, if you're declined for a job, there will be just status for you that you are unresponsive, job was closed, or client passed, or rate mismatch. So it was just a normal response that you get from any other company when you are getting declined. And at Higher Otter, you receive that, but it comes with my personal message. This is the client feedback. This is
Yeah.
what really happened. This is the thing that made your application decline, or there were other stronger candidates than you. I'm trying to be more personal and true as possible, because that's what they need to hear. And that's just, as an applicant in the past, that's just what I needed to hear. I just need the truth, and for me to move forward and identify what's wrong with the application. Sometimes I also try to include that on the message that the candidate has a stronger skills with the front end, or that's why you were declined, because you just got 3 years and the other candidates has 5 years. So I try to make it more informative for them to be able to be ready for next application they will apply for.
Yeah, just describe that a little bit more. Go in terms of the coaching process of helping these engineers who are completely well skilled, have great talent, but they might not have a strong LinkedIn. They might actually have challenges
Mhm,
interviewing, might struggle a little bit with communication. How much
mhm,
effort goes into helping them highlight the best skills, the best parts of themselves?
mhm.
And
That's
how
that's it.
often
That's
actually does it sorry, and then follow up to that is how
Sure.
often are they not successful because of not having those coaching points?
Well, we saw the increase of candidates being approved for application and being sent to the client when we tried the new things that we implemented at HireOtter. It's, for example, we try to, first thing that we do freely for all the applications that we receive is we do a LinkedIn audit. So we try to have them edit their LinkedIn, and we submit them a PDF and let them know which one to focus on, which one to change your picture, add cover photo, add description on your job, add more skills. So that's the first step that they will be receiving once they are approved for a job. And then on the application process, there are two options. They can go up to do a live evaluation and recorded evaluation. And both evaluation will assess them regarding their skills. And all of the questions that is layered down on the form, as I am the one using it, it is directed directly on the things I want to highlight to them. For example, what is your title? What is your title that you go by? Are you a senior full stack developer? You identify already what you are in the industry. That's the first thing.
Right.
And we identify the skills. Where are you good at? Or what are your expert skills? What are the technologies you're really proficient in? And how many years? So I always ask for the specific years, because clients or job posting mostly, as I observed it, they are really, really particular with the years of experience. Like, for example, I'm not gonna interview this guy because he only got 3 years and we're looking for someone with five. So on the recorded
Yeah.
evaluation and the live, I asked that the year, when did it
Yeah.
started, what were the
Why is
projects.
that? Why
Mhm.
is that important? Why do you think clients care about it? Do you think it's actually necessary? Question for you. Do you think it's an actual necessary question, or do you think it even matters?
Well, I think it matters depending on the seniority they're currently looking for, because it is as if the post is a senior and they're looking for someone with 5 years of experience with the technology. They really need someone who will be the badass and work on the specific projects and work together with the team of the developers that is currently on the
Mm,
team. And they
yeah.
might not want to let any junior developers infiltrate or be part of the team. They want another junior developer. That's why they're very particular with the specific
Yeah.
years of experience. Also, the third thing is we identify the industry. When the industry complements, when the previous industries that you've worked with complements with the client you're applying for, it's really a plus plus for me. For example, if this
Yeah.
is a healthcare company and you got a huge background in healthcare using the same technology that this client is using, it's a plus plus for me. It's a no brainer that I will not be sending your application to my client. So,
Yeah.
industry and also your goals. The goals is important because there are developers who do not want to be exposed into learning other scopes of the work. Like, for example, some of the senior front end developer just really want to focus on front end and become an architecture or follow that specific line. That's why I need to identify that during the interview and also in the recorded evaluation, plus the rate. Those things are really embedded. Those things are embedded on the things that we do at HireOtter. That's why we try to create a highly vetted developers that we submit to our client.
Yeah, it's impressive seeing how much goes into the process. Obviously, you talked about the
Mhm.
LinkedIn audits, which I think is so impressive on the amount of feedback is given to each person on how to highlight you
Mhm.
online and how important that is. And then clarifying all these skills and being exact on what you can do, what you're capable of, and
Mhm.
also relating that to the industry. I mean, those pieces really do come together. And when you're doing this matchmaking process, how often do you have to submit a developer for a role to actually get them hired? What are the numbers that you see, or is it pretty much just chance? What's kind of some of the formula that's worked out, and what are some formulas that are still kind of you're testing?
Well, at HireOtter, I try to gauge a developer with four things. So one is the recorded evaluation or live evaluation. If the developer or an applicant is done with that and he passed the English skills or proficiency that the client needs, that's the first one. The second one is the qualifying question. If the developer answered the qualifying questions correctly, neatly, with their correct grammar, I move them to the next point of judgment, which is the quizzes. We also have internal quizzes that we let the developer take using other third party like Toggle Hire. So there are plenty of quizzes or suggested quizzes that we recommend for each job roles that we have. And the fourth is the references. So we ask for references, at least two, whether it is a colleague or a senior manager in the past that they previously worked with. So when the developer or
Yeah,
an applicant completed this for, it's a no-brainer for me to not
yeah.
submit him to any clients he matches with.
I guess shifting gears here to you're thinking about the things that developers can do or the different pieces of their background can focus on. What are some like tips for those out there who are working remotely, looking for a
Mhm.
position that help them or will help them get a job? Where do they need to focus their attention on? What should they have? What's your piece of information? If I'm somebody listening right now, what are 5 things I could go away from this conversation and be like, okay, I can put these together and be a little bit more marketable.
Well, first of all, they need to take advantage of this evolution that we all now can work remote. That's the thing that they can take advantage with. And regarding being hired or being or attracting a client for you to get a job, it's really in the matter of you laying up yourself. I mean, it's a matter of you laying up your skills and technologies that you know and sample works as a developer, it's really important for you to showcase that or have it visible in your LinkedIn, in your GitHub, on all your application, because that will really boost that will you from there you will get higher chances of being hired and being accepted for an initial interview or next stages of interview with the clients that you are applying for. Those are the things that I think really matters for me as a recruiter. If I see you that you have a good track record in your LinkedIn and you have your samples ready to be sent, you have a precise profile or bio that you are this, you identify yourself as this specifically, not just a generalist. It's more convincing for me to pinpoint you or pick you up and put you on a specific job post that I know. Because as we go by, it's becoming more customized and you need to be more able to at least establish what you really want to do, not just in general terms. If you want to be a full stack developer, be a full stack developer. If you want to be a front end developer, go on that line, or back end developer. I just and then align your profile with the back end or front end technologies that you know and sample works that you did, so that the client that who will review your profile will be impressed and have the initial reaction of yes, because they see an actual result of what you did, an explanation on a specific project that you have worked on or created.
Yeah, yeah. And what's the difference with the different types of roles people are applying for? Whether if
Mhm.
I'm a CTO, engineering manager, senior developer, how do I approach my application or my profile differently, or do I not approach it differently at all? And I just kind of focus on the things that you mentioned already.
Well, the same thing. It's just that you should have at least a good LinkedIn profile. That is one. That is one. Having a good LinkedIn profile, having a LinkedIn profile, good representation of yourself on that specific platform will will be good enough for you to be able to connect to jobs that you want to apply for or something.
Sure, sure.
Mhm.
I guess on a personal level, what are you looking forward to in your career now, running kind of the whole HireOtter process, not only owning the client relationships, but building community, working with partners, and managing different modes of people, honestly, managing kind of a small army to grow that network and accomplish things. What's exciting for you in this transition, and what are some things that you're going to start incorporating in your personal work life to kind of elevate your career?
Well, personally, I want to make sure that it is not me having fun, but also all of these partners or developers or clients who are working with me will also feel the vibe that I'm having fun doing it. That's the thing
Mm,
I think I want to implement first, that we all have fun in this journey. And this will not be the type of a typical company where everyone is serious. We can joke around. That is I think the vibe that I'm trying to implement. And we at the Higher Otter and this new role that I was given to as a managing director, as long as we can automate things for us to do things quickly, we'll automate it, but with a personal
sure.
touch. And also, really, I just really have enjoyment in my mind and really helping others to have them land on their dream job, because that is the ultimate goal of me as a managing director at Hire Otter, to not just get a job, but to be a source or an ally for these people who are looking for a job and create an impact for them. Or and then
Yeah.
it's an impact vice versa. Like, for example, if the company is doing something to make an impact to the world, and this guy we help for him to live his life or to support his family, and we connect them both together, no one's gonna be happier than me if that's
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that.
Mm.
Pray, I know we're coming to the end of the episode here, but is there any question I didn't ask you that I should have? Anything come to mind?
None of I can think of as of the moment.
What's something personal that you're looking forward to this weekend?
Well, this weekend I'm gonna be having a lunch out with a friend. So I'm looking forward on that. And on the next weekend, I'm gonna traveling to a local province here in the Philippines. And next weekend we'll be having our high school reunion. And the last week of October, I'm gonna be flying to Taiwan. So that's my
Wow.
itinerary for the whole October. So I'm very
Wow.
excited.
I know. I love how you just casually bounce from place to place and find
Uh-huh.
yourself in different locations. It really embodies the nomadic spirit, I think. I guess what are some of your tips for staying effective at your job, but also moving from place to place and trying to live that balance? What are some tips that you've seen is really successful?
Oh, well, first of all, you manage your finances wisely, because that is the first thing. When you book a hotel, when you travel or pay for something, you should be able to manage your finances wisely. And second, invest on the things that will help you, like a good laptop, like a good speaker, good phone, because these investments are really worth it. As of the moment, I'm using Mac M2, so it's really been a good investment for me because I can take it anywhere. I can take it whenever I'm traveling, and also make sure that the place that you will be working has a Wi-Fi. That's it. That's really just that's it. A good laptop, a Wi-Fi, and a good finance status for you to be able to do everything. But it's easy when you focus on it, and when really it's in your heart.
Yeah. One other question that just popped into my head is describe kind of work style, what leads to success, what you believe leads to success for people working remotely, for companies or for partners or whatever, in terms of, I'm thinking like day to day. I know you are so diligent about keeping track and making it clear in terms of transparency. What do you believe leads to not only good work, but also growth and the ability to grow remotely at a company? What kind of habits
Mhm.
should we have?
Well, a habit of being, I think, I don't know if you remember just earlier when you were typing in Slack and I sent you a message right away.
I know.
That's how, that's how I am attentive in Slack while working. I look at
I wasn't
everything.
even done typing. I wasn't even done
I
typing.
know. I know. I do it to Mike all the time. Same thing with Fry, with all of the other workers that I work with. Whenever they're messaging me, I see it because there is a logo that let me informs me that you are typing. So I PM, hey, what's up? What are you what do you want? So I think being attentive, and I just want to relate it on the company as remote company here at HireOtter. What we have is we set goals, monthly goals, which I think very, very important, our OKR, and we align every work every month on that specific OKR that we set.
Mm,
So we are aligned on specific goal and target that we want to achieve on that specific month. And we
mm,
also try to have a daily stand up. We do games. We do catch up. We have one on one with my coworkers, with my Mike Townsend, and also, there is this way of sharing productivity every after shift. We send clock outs and then productivity lists that we did, and then we review it the next day. So I think those little things and techniques as a remote company will really help it more collaborative and be able to connect with one another, at least
yeah.
on a personal level, on what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah. I know we're at the top of the
Mhm,
hour, Pray. It's such a pleasure
mhm.
chatting with you. We rarely get a chance to actually do more of a personal chat, and I appreciate you hopping on the show and giving us
Yeah.
kind of insights not only on your career, your experience working remotely, your growth, mentorship, coaching, helping developers get jobs. There's so many pieces, I think, to what you do. Personal branding, how to actually execute on that and being yourself. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground here, and it's such a pleasure always talking with you. Last little bit is, where
Yeah.
can we find you? Where can people reach out, be a fan of what you're doing, but also keep informed, hire from you? Well, where can we find you?
Well, I'm available across all social media channel. I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just type in Pray Nadal, Papa Romeo Alpha Yankee, Nancy Alpha Delta Alpha Lima. That's my whole name. And I have a unique name, thank God. So you can find me easily.
Pray, so lovely. Thank you, man. Great. Now you have it. There was our conversation with Pray. You can find it in all different channels. We'll be posting content on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We'll be posting the sound bites as well as where to find our guests onto the show. We'll have a myriad of different people who want to discuss tech, remote work, coaching, mentoring, professional growth, leading different teams. We have a host of different individuals coming onto the show, from VCs to founders to people like Pray, building communities. It's going to be really exciting to see all the new faces and new exciting ideas and conversations we will have with White Coach. So stay tuned.